Welcome to our Doo Wop Journey. Hi, I'm Rob Albanese, president of our Enterprises. Producer and promoter of doo wop music throughout the United States. Let me introduce you to our host for our journey, Mr. Cool Bobby B from Sirius XM Radio, 50s on 5.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome to a great show. We're going to take you on a fantastic doo-wop journey with some great interviews and some great music. Let's get things started. Our special guest, the legendary Duke of Earl, Gene Chandler. Gene, great to have you with us tonight.
Nice being with you.
Our television show is called the Doo Wop Journey. So just in a minute or so, can you kind of tell us where you started your musical journey?
Oh, gosh. You want the beginning?
Yeah, I'm curious about the beginning.
I was about 5, 6 years old. And I went to a 4th of July picnic with my parents, and they had this big open dance hall, and it was a stage. And I don't know why I love that particular song, Oh Danny Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me to go up there and sing because my parents had heard me sing it before. I went up there and sung it and brought the house down, and I was smitten.
And how old were you?
6, between 5 and 6, somewhere in there.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Let me ask you this, because you've had a career that spanned through pop, through doo-wop, basically, through group harmony, all the way through soul music, one of the original crossover artists into soul, a producer, a writer, and a singer.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to do all that? And you're still cooking today.
Oh, well, you know, I guess I was somewhat of an entrepreneur, and I just did a lot of things. I always thought if you had a lot of things going for you, if something failed, you still had something else going for you, and that's the way I kind of move in my life. And like today,
So go ahead today.
And like today, you know, I'm in real estate all across the country.
I didn't realize that.
And I come out and do shows maybe once, sometime twice a month. I don't do as many as I could do because the real estate takes up most of my time, and then I got real estate all over Chicago.
Right.
But what I do is come out because of the love of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in great health.
Yep, you look great.
And I'm going to be moving on that stage like I always have.
Yep.
And as long as I can do that, then it's nice to come out and get the love that's out here.
Absolutely.
From those fans. It's just lovely. The standing ovations, the whole thing. You know.
One last question, if I may, because you've had so many great records over the years. What's your personal favorite record that you've ever done?
Oh, gosh, that's difficult because there's some that I did I thought were fantastic, and they didn't become big hits.
Well, that doesn't matter.
But my 2 biggest records of all time is The Duke of Earl and Rainbow.
Yep.
And I did Rainbow 3 times. Rainbow originally, then they recorded me live in 1965 at the Regal Theater.
Right.
It took off again.
Yep.
And then in 1980, we put it on a new album, just like we were doing 3 years prior to that, Something from the Past.
Right.
And it took off again. So I would say The Duke of Earl and Rainbow.
All right, well, let's walk on with the Duke. It's an honor to be with you, sir.
Nice being
Thank
with
you very much.
My pleasure.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
You know, it's interesting to me that you guys have probably, I don't know if it's the highest charting doo-wop record ever, but it's definitely one of the most memorable doo-wop songs ever, Tonite, Tonite. How did that recording come about, Jerry?
Basically, it was written by one of the staff writers at Herald Records, which had Freddie Paris, Still of the Night, The Joker, people like that. And actually, it was one of 4, which we didn't think much of. And we took it home and made it sound good, because that was the secret to doo-wop. If you can make it sound good without music, you know it was going to sound great with music. And we took it in with 3 other songs, and that one came out the best. And there's a misconception on the musicians that we used back in those days.
I'd like to hear about it. What's the truth?
The reason doo-wop music was as good as it was is because the musicians came from the big band era.
Yes.
For example, we had Al Caiola on all our sessions. One of
Really?
the greatest guitar players
Yep.
ever. Gary Chester, Frank Sinatra's drummer.
Yep.
I mean, I can go Joe Black on bass. I mean, these guys would knock them out. Keep in mind, we'd pick 4 songs and have to do them in 2 hours.
That's all the time they would give you.
That would give us half an hour a pop.
Wow.
And it was rehearse it once, cut it. Rehearse it once, cut it. And there was only 4 tracks. That was it. 2 for the band, 1 for the backup, 1 for the lead. Amazing how well it came out.
You know, it's a wonderful, wonderful record. Matter of fact, I remember when it first came out, and then I remember in the early 1960s there was a revival of Doo Wop.
Yes.
And it came right back up again.
We went to do the Dick Clark show. Dick Clark was a very good friend of ours. He started out with us in Philly at a local TV station.
Okay.
He was actually came from the same town we came from, Mount Vernon, New York.
Right.
They gave us a ticket tape parade, and we were good friends. And Dick, brought us on the show at least 12 times.
Wow.
And we went to do the show for, let's say, the 12th time. I'm not sure which one it was. And Tonite was #1 in Philadelphia. 10 years later.
Right, that's what I'm
10
remembering.
years later.
Right.
How was that possible?
Right.
How was that possible? There weren't really national charts like we are familiar with now. You still had the hit parade
Yep.
with people like Patti Page
Right.
and Vic Damone and people like. So those were the charts that people recognized, not rock and roll or rhythm and blues charts. Because we were probably one of the first white groups. I think us and the Diamonds, and that it was hard to get play on
Right.
any of the white stations.
Right, because you did
at
a
all.
very soulful sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the first year and a half, we played what they call the Apollo Theater Circuit.
Gotcha.
1 week at the Apollo, 1 week in Philly, 1 week in Baltimore, 1 week in Chicago.
Gotcha.
And it just kept on doing that. And then it caught on. It caught on.
It sure did.
Yeah.
It's still played 1,000,000 times today.
Yeah, exactly. I finally get royalties.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That is great.
I only wish that I had written the song, but we didn't, of
Right.
course. And a few of the mega stars went to Washington and fought this.
Right.
And it got it now that at least we get paid on the royalties on satellite,
Yep.
which is great.
And we play it for you on satellite. We love the record.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of our top 5 most requested records.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's in the group today?
Right now, one of the oldest members, Don. Don's been with me 40 years.
That's great, Don.
Don Batusik. So as far as I'm concerned, he's an original.
I understand.
Yeah. And what's your name?
I'm Rob. I told you that when I met you.
Bob-
Outside. I told you outside already.
Bob Russo.
Stan
Bob
Russo.
Russo has
Rob
been
Russo.
with me on and off for 12 years, I would
Yeah,
say.
about 12 years.
About 12 years.
And how does
So
it feel to you performing today when you go out in front of everybody today?
it's a funny, different feeling. There's no hype anymore. You know the people are there because they love you.
Yep.
You don't have to really push. You just have to do it, and they're going to love you. And that to me is absolutely amazing. They are the greatest. This is the greatest generation of all time,
Yep.
as far as I'm concerned. Today, not to knock today's music, but to me, it's not music.
I understand.
You know, it's anybody can sing a 50 song, anybody, and that's what keeps it going.
Well, it's a real honor to have you guys on our Doo Wop journey. And the Mello Kings, Jerry, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Care.
Appreciate it.
Tonight, while I'm holding you so, tonight, what I give if I can hear those sweet little words that would thrill the heart of me. Just whisper, I love you, and we'll eternally want tonight, more than any time before. It's hard to need you so much. The touch of your
We're real excited to have on our Doo Wop Journey TV show today, the Solitaires. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us today. We really appreciate
It's
it.
our pleasure.
Now, let me turn to you and ask you, how did your musical journey get started?
Well, back in the early 50s, I started out with a high school group called the Concords.
Okay.
We recorded one record, which was named Candlelight.
Okay.
And from that, I went on to join the Solitaires later on in the years. And I've been with the group ever since.
So they were there prior to you? The Solitaires were in existence before you joined them?
Yes. they
How did
were.
you get in the group?
Well, I knew a person who was with the group at that time.
Uh-huh.
He lived in the projects where I stayed.
Gotcha.
And they needed a lead singer because the lead singer that they had at that time was going into the service.
Gotcha.
he got in touch with me and asked me would I come down and do some interviews for the group. And from there on, it's history.
Do you remember the very first recording session you ever had, for what record it was?
The wedding,
Okay. And who was that for?
Old Town Records.
How did that come about?
It came about. I guess they were interested in trying to hear how I sounded with a duet. In other words, they wanted to hear if my voice sounded like the person who left the group.
Right, sure.
So they came up with the wedding, and I did the duet with one of the guys in the group, and it came out pretty well.
Yeah, I would say it came out very, very well.
Yes, yes.
Now, you went on to make one of the biggest selling records actually in music history. How did that occur?
Actually, I did a lot of writing for the group after I became a member.
Right.
And from there on, I was sitting in my living room one day. I was listening to Fats Domino.
Mm-hmm.
He had a record out at that time called I'm Walking.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I said, well, let me see if I can write some words, and I came up with Walking Along.
Right.
And I penned it out. I gave it to the group. We sat down, we put some words and music to it, and it's been there since.
I mean, it's one of the biggest records ever, right? I mean,
Yes. For the Solitaires, I imagine so, yes.
No, I mean, just in music history, it's a beloved song.
Well,
all these years.
There's a lot of music out there. I'm glad to know that it was one of those that were big.
It's one of the most requested songs, I can tell you
That's
that.
our exercise record.
Really?
We're
Okay.
still walking.
That's right. Who's in the group today?
Well, right now on the other end is Mr. Al Grant,
Yep.
Mr. Donald Cruz.
How are you?
This is Ray
Goodwin.
Yes.
I forget his name sometime. I forget my name
After
sometimes.
after 5
And
years.
you know who I am. I'm Milton Love.
Yes, I know. How do you feel about performing today? Like when you go out and you see the audiences today compared to like when you were on stage in the Paramount back in the 50s?
It's still the same. I still get nervous.
Really?
Yes, I do. They can tell you. Just before the show is, we're going out on the stage, I still, my hands are going like this and everything, and I'm there, and they try to calm me down. By the time we hit the stage, everything's okay.
I mean, you started as a relatively young person, and the people in the audience were relatively young, back in those days. Now we have all ages of groups in the audience, right?
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Because they love your music.
That's an attest to loving the 50s music.
Right.
That's why we're here today.
Yep.
Try to keep it alive.
You're doing it.
Amazing to see such young people too.
Yeah.
And you ask them and they say, listen, I've been listening to my brothers and sisters playing this music, my parents, and I like it.
Yep.
We like it better than this rap stuff, so we're here.
Yep. I'm glad you guys are.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for being on our Doo Wop Journey TV show today.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you for
Solitaires,
inviting
everybody.
And
us.
you're
Thank you
an
very much.
excellent MC, by the way.
Thank you, Don.
We've had a pleasure working with you many times.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Walking on my living back, sing a song. I'm on my love, and love's here to stay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Walking along, just sitting down, singing a song. I won't be sad, oh, every day. I'm just walking along.
I hope you're enjoying our amazing journey through the world of doo-wop music. I'm Cool Bobby B from Sirius XM and the 50s on 5. Join me every Sunday night from 9 to midnight with the Doo-Wop Stop. And you want to find out about all the great, incredible live doo-wop performances that LAR Enterprises is bringing to you all over the world in the United States? There's one place to go, and that's the website. It's LARENTR.com. That's www.LARENTR.com. For LAR Enterprises, or just Google it, LAR Enterprises, and get all the info. Rob and Laura do an incredible job of bringing this incredible music to wherever you are. So come see us at one of our amazing live concerts. Just go to our website for the latest live concert information. It's LARENTR.com. We got something exciting on our Doo Wop Journey TV show right now from Chicago, Illinois. We've got the Eldorados. Guys, thanks for being with us today.
Pleasure
Thanks
being
for
here,
having
brother.
us.
And you know the question everybody is asking me to ask you, was there really a crazy little mama knocking on your front door? I mean, tell me the truth. Was there?
Well, we've all had some crazy little mamas at one time or another. So
That's
she
true,
done
that's
knocked on
true.
everybody's front
And then she
door.
came around and knocked on the back door.
Window,
Couldn't
could
get
get
rid of
any, windows, anything.
I got you. Well, the name of our show is a Doo Wop Journey. So let me kind of defer to the more senior members first and ask you guys where your musical journey got started.
Well, mine got started, excuse me, a little cold.
No problem.
Anyway, mine got started around grammar school. I was going to a school called Raymond, and I had another little group called the Sparrows.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's what the start of it.
Okay. How about yourself?
Mine started out 13 years old. I was messing around singing in St. Paul. St. Paul's my home,
Yep.
Minnesota. And my uncle had a sing with a group called the Valquins, and one of the members was leaving
Yep.
for the service, and he saw me trying to sing like Frankie Lyman. He knew my voice was changing, and he said, Bush, why don't you huff it? Come on, go down. He started teaching me how baritone and bass, and he introduced me to the rest of the guys. First song I ever learned was Doom-ba-doom-ba-ba-doom-ba-doom. I said, well, he said, hey, that's it, he's here. I was 13. They were 5 years older than I was.
Wow.
I was the baby, and they treated me as such.
I got you.
Okay?
Yep.
If I got out of line, ooh, yeah, it was a baby. Yeah, but that's why I got my start with
Okay.
the Valquins.
Okay, that's very cool. Now, how'd you young guys get involved in doo-wop?
Well, I got started. I was singing. I've been singing since I was 6 in the children's choir. I'm growing up, listening to all this kind of music. But I joined this group about 4 years ago, and Norman Palm played in my band, jazz band, asked me if I'd be interested in joining. I'm like, whoa, yeah, I would love to. So I've been singing with them ever since, and it's been a joy.
How about you, sir?
I actually came in the group in 1999 after Larry Hi-C Johnson passed away. When they were looking for a replacement,
Yep.
they, had problems finding people. And one morning, Perk said to me in the afternoon, he said, hey, you want to come give us a hand? And we were rehearsing at my dad's place at the time. So after I sung, Perk said, okay, he knows all the material. I think we got our guy. We don't need to look any further. And I've been here ever since.
That's great, man. What's the doo-wop scene like in Chicago?
Slow. It's slow in Chicago, but it was popping everywhere else.
Yeah.
Chicago's always been a slow town for, especially for their own. Now they'll send out of town and get somebody to come in and do something, but they don't want to do nothing with who they have there already.
Were you friendly with any of your label mates like the Magnificents or Jerry Butler?
Oh,
Productions?
yeah.
Yeah, we've done shows together, still do shows together.
We still see the Magnificents
yeah.
from time to time.
And I have every time I see Jerry, I'm gonna tease him because he is a commissioner.
Right.
The Chicago Machine. I say, Jerry, how can I get in touch with you? He say, leave a message with my secretary as usual. Oh yeah, right.
I love it.
But he's the ice man. He's cool.
He's very
good.
cool.
Oh,
We did a
he's
show
good.
with him.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I like it.
Would you introduce everybody in the group for us?
Okay, right in front of me is the man that's been with me for I don't know how many moons. Clarence Huffy Wright Sr. Now baritone and bass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll let my son introduce his friends since he brought him in.
And this is Salik Siad. He's an excellent singer. As you probably would think, he sings first, second, and does occasional lead, so he's our all-around man.
And you are?
I'm Norman Palm Jr.
Okay.
He does everything. He's a genius. He's a mastermind. He writes, he arranges, he plays. He got
Perfect pitch. Don't need a pitch back with him.
And you want to introduce this gentleman here?
Last but not least, my father, Mr. Norman Palm Sr., leader, sings first tenor and our primary lead singer.
Norman, what do you think about the audiences today compared to when you performed in the 1950s and 60s?
Well, when we performed in the 1950s and 60s, the audience was very young, so they was into it anyway. But now, since they've grown up, they're even more into it because the audience today is the audience from yesterday.
Matured.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys still have fun going out there?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Well, it's a real big honor for have the Eldorados on our TV show. Thank you so much for
Been a
coming.
pleasure.
Thanks for
you.
having
Thanks
us.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Absolutely.
On our Doo Wop Journey TV show, we are very proud to have with us today the Continentals. Guys, thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
We really appreciate it very much. You know, talking about the Doo Wop journey and how people come to be in the music business and stuff like that. In the early 1960s, there was a Doo Wop revival. And part of that revival was a record album that was put out called Rumble. And on the Rumble album were 2 songs by the Continentals. And for a lot of people, young people like myself, that was the first time they ever heard about the Continentals. But your Doo Wop journey starts way before that, doesn't it, Danny?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit how you got started?
We started about 1955, and we had come out of 2 different groups.
What were they?
The Romances I was in, and the Condors.
Okay.
And we did a talent show together.
Where was this?
In Brooklyn at the PAL.
Okay.
And after the show, they said to me, we're looking for a top tenor. And if you ever leave this group, man, get in touch with us. We were all going to the same high school, so that we knew each other. And as it happened, when I left the group, I ran into 2 of the original members of the Condors, and they said, look, man, we're having rehearsal Tuesday night. If you can make it, be there. It was at 7 o'clock. And I made this rehearsal, and from the first night, it was almost like we were born to sing together.
Really?
Yeah, and once we made up our mind to be a group, we started putting together a repertoire of over 50 songs. And we used to do everything.
How old were you guys then?
15, 16, 17, and 18.
Wow, that must have been exciting.
Very, very exciting. In fact, it was a time when this music was everywhere around the city, everywhere. You could hear it in stores, in the subway, in schoolyards, everywhere. It was everywhere.
How'd you get to do your first record?
We auditioned for Bobby Robinson, and at the same time that the Channels were.
Okay.
And once we made an agreement with him and signed the contract, he set up this recording session. And on the recording session, we had some famous musicians.
Who were they?
Philly Joe Jones was on drums.
Really?
Mickey Baker on guitar.
Amazing.
Ray Brown was on bass. Who was
Panama Lewis.
Panama Lewis,
on
yeah,
the piano.
on piano.
That's fantastic.
And then
King Curtis.
and King Curtis was on the horn.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first session.
Wow.
The second session we had Sam the Man Taylor, Mickey Baker, and the same other members. But it was quite an experience because we had creative input in making these records, and it was truly a great time for this music.
Did you enjoy doing the ballads or the up-tempo songs?
To tell you the truth, I always preferred the ballads because I wasn't a ladies' man, but I used to like the ballads better than I did the up-tempo. But I liked them both. To tell you the truth, I just preferred the ballads a little bit better.
Because I mean, Dear Lord is definitely I don't know whether you call it a standard or a staple, or it's one of the main songs that introduces so many people to love this music.
Yeah, true that. So many people have recorded it over the years. I was surprised. And the Channels even recorded it later in later years, yeah.
Who's in the group today?
Hal Gill, myself, Warren Tesoro, and Herb Pitt. He also sings with the Jive Five.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not really a problem because we always find the time to get together.
Now, you sang back in the old days when they had the big rock and roll shows. I'm sure that was exciting with all the kids in the audience. What's it like now to get out in front of this audience?
Like I said to them, I really appreciate them coming. We really appreciate them coming because they help to keep this music alive. And if they didn't come to these shows wouldn't happen. It's like show business and show and business. If somebody doesn't take care of business, there'll be no show. And the audience is the one that really keeps this music alive.
How do you feel about performing now?
Oh, absolutely fabulous. I've been singing a long, long time. I also went to the same high school as Danny.
Yeah, Boys High.
Boys High School, and a plethora of groups came out of Boys
Absolutely.
High. The Paragons, the
Velours.
Velours,
Wow.
Little
Little Anthony Imperials, you know.
Continentals.
Oh my gosh,
It
it
was
was
just-
just wonderful, absolutely.
Now, Warren, you're an expert in music, let's face it. You know about every record and every piece of music probably ever recorded. How do you feel getting out there and performing these days?
This is a thrill to be performing with the Continentals. Man, I had all their records as a kid, you know, and I couldn't even find a copy of Dear Lord. By the time I found out about it, it was a rare record.
Yeah.
And I went to Slim's store in Times Square
Right,
Records,
right. Yeah.
and he wanted too much money for it. And then the Rumble album came out,
Right.
and I was able to get Picture of Love and Dear Lord
Right.
and Fine Fine Frame and was Soft
Soft
and
and
Sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
Soft and Sweet was it? And the Bob chords were on there
Yeah.
too, you know, and the love notes.
Exactly.
And the channels. I was happy, you know.
Yeah.
It's great.
great
And it's a
album.
thrill to be with Danny and Harold.
Well, it's a thrill to have you guys on our Doo Wop Journey TV show. Thank you so much. The Continentals, everybody.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. Thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
that.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. You got a question?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah, he's got a question. Yeah. Okay.
No, you're looking at him. If somebody were to come to you as that teenager back in high school and say, 55 years from now, you're going to be singing this.
No way.
No, you
What
wouldn't.
would you? I mean, what would that have said meant to you? Or
I broached that question with one of the original Continentals. I said to him, I said, Jimmy, I said, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that they would still be playing Dear Lord 50 years later? He said, not in my wildest dreams. So the feeling is like that. I never thought this music would be around like this. In fact, when the revival started, I was doing something else. And I really didn't even know anything about it until somebody contacted me and they said, well, they'd like to see the Continentals. And then I think it was about 8 years or 9 years ago, we got contacted by some people in the business, and they said, well, can we have an interview? And I said, okay. I got on the phone with him and we talked, and the next thing I know, I was on stage again. We did a show at Howard University. That was the reunion show. And after that, the people were on me to such a point, man, they said, look, man, you gotta come back. We wanna see the Continentals perform. And that's how I ended up performing again.
Dear Lord, please answer me. Please, dear Lord, please hear my say me down someone to love. Dear Lord, I'm blue. The love I have left me broken hearted.
I got to thank you, Rob. That was a fantastic show.
Yes, it was, Bobby, and I'm so glad we have the opportunity to bring this great music, this doo-wop journey, to everybody.